James Mennie of the Montreal Gazette. Oh, James.
Oh, David, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well. We're in the hump day of the first full working week of 2024, and news is busting out all over.
It really is.
You can't complain. Yeah,
so finally, we're geting details leaking out of the deal reached by the Common Front with the government.
Yeah. I don't know. What do you make of that? Because I got to tell you, I had scrambled eggs and sausage for breakfast this morning, but the minute I saw that story, I smelled fish. I got to tell you, David. Hey, come on. It's not like someone gave them a crumpled piece of paper and they just they leaked it to them that way. There's this kind of, and I'm not questioning the good faith or the accuracy of the reporting by TVA or La Presse. La Presse broke the story. But, it was on the website, but it got cached on the Google page, so we were able to find it that way and this and that and blah, blah, blah. And finally, the Common Front puts out a communique this afternoon. I just think the whole thing sounds kind of bizarre. And, if I was a cynical person, David.
Which you are not.
I would say that, we're making this public, this is now in the public domain. So if you're with the FEEC, the nurses union, or you're with the FAE, if you're expecting to get more, think again, because if you do get more, we're going to scream bloody murder. It just struck me as being very, very strange that it would come out, it would just be this little tweak here, and it seemed to be pretty well detailed, too.
It is very well detailed.
So I don't know. On the other hand, it could have been, I don't know. It certainly serves the government's interest because that message is out there now. This is about as good as it's going to get, kids. So you know what? Don't come banging your fists on our tables in the new year because you saw what we gave them and we can't go higher than that. So we'll see what happens. But as I say, I don't really believe in coincidence, David.
I don't believe in them either because it's on January 3rd, which is kind of the first real day where some people are back at work, So,
absolutely, yeah.
So there's more traffic, there's more awareness, it's not an official day off. And so here we are, this leak comes out, and this is not like somebody forgot the deal on a table at Tim Hortons.
No, exactly. I believe that.
This is a calculated leak.
I would believe that.
Yeah, there you go. But this is clearly a calculated leak. It's clearly from the unions. And so you think this is about influencing the nurses union? That's the play here?
I think it's certainly sending a message to the nurses union and to the teachers union that, this is about as good as it's going to get. But it also sends a message to the rank and file because, I'm sure, you've gone on these, with the Common Front, they went on these series of strikes. There was a lot of uncertainty, and now it's like, as we just heard on the news, it'll be discussed at general meetings in mid-January. That's a long time to wait. A lot of people, I think, and I do not, question the sincerity of the unions when they say this isn't just about money. This is about working conditions and where healthcare is going to go and where teaching is going to go. All that said, money is a big deal.
Yeah.
Money in this day and age, when you look at the priorities of Quebecers, their economic concerns, they want to know how much they're going to get on the strike that they held, and this is a pretty good indicator, as you quite rightly point out. The 3rd of January, plenty of time to digest it, and I'm sure that there are people out there who are probably saying, well, I guess it's as good as it was going to get. They'll want details, but let's face it, in all the contract negotiations I've been involved in, we always came down to it. Okay, it's good in terms of various protocols in terms of working conditions, but everybody wants to know what literally the bottom line with a dollar sign was, and that question has been very eloquently answered today, and in no small amount of detail, ostensibly by the Common Front, which was sort of embarrassed into issuing a communique this afternoon. But as I say, the whole thing just kind of strikes me as being rather weird. And we'll see. And of course, now all eyes will be on the FAE, the teachers union, and the FEEC, the nurses union, to see what they wind up with and what they're willing to settle for.
Right. And since you correctly pointed out, I think it was yesterday, that this is far from being ratified by union members. I'm wondering here if this is not also part of a strategy also to seek out or ferret out possible opposition within union ranks to that 17.4%, saying it's not enough.
Well, I mean, but the thing is, I know where you're going with this, but on the other hand, short of giving an interview, behind the cloak of anonymity, because the most eloquent statement is going to be made in the union meetings and say, listen, brothers and sisters, we could have done a lot better than this. I'm not happy with this, yada, yada, yada. In the end, and that's why they usually keep a lid on these things, because in the end, this is a decision by the rank and file, which is why this just hit me out of left field today. But we would have this, this much detail. Yeah. This much detail, and once again, because of a computer glitch on New Year's Eve, apparently the post went up on the evening of December 31st and was quickly pulled down. Although through the miracle of the interweb, David, Google apparently keeps little copies of everything, and they did a deep dive and were able to get a copy of the original post. I don't know either. No, I'm just wondering, and unions better than I ever will, but at the same time, I remember when one of the teachers' unions struck a deal first, there was a lot of response from FAE rank and file members on social media saying, okay, let's make a deal. Let's go back to work. And I'm wondering if that didn't influence the FAE. Well, it'll be very interesting to see how it plays out. And indeed, if you really want to get paranoid, you can say, well, did the government sweeten the deal a little bit in exchange perhaps for a potential leak that might convince other unions that they're not going to go better than this, so settle for what you got and let's all get back to work. I mean, the possibilities are endless. All I'm saying is, and I'm not accusing anybody of anything, all I'm saying is this is an astounding coincidence that seems the explanation for it, and I'm not a computer expert, but the explanation for it seems so circuitous, so built on this, and that's how we happen to get our hands on it. Plus, I don't know if something actually went up on December 31st. I know newsrooms aren't as heavily staffed as they used to be, David, but if something like that went up on December 31st, you'd think somebody might have noticed, and you think somebody might have filed something.
Moving on, we've been talking about this Leger poll all day. So I focused on what Quebecers were most worried about. So you're focusing on Quebecers' hope. So what did you think about this poll?
Well, I think the only thing well, with all due respect to Leger, because they do this every year, I think everybody in Quebec should, copy and paste this poll, either print it up and stick it on the refrigerator or keep it on their phone as a download, because we're discovering that here's newsflash: Quebecers are concerned about the economy. Newsflash: Quebecers are concerned about job security and whatever. I looked high and low through that piece today. I did not find identity, language, or anything else.
No.
On the things I will be doing more of, improving my French wasn't there.
Nope.
On the things I will do less of, speaking English was not there.
Nope.
But I can tell you this, I think everyone should keep this, because the next time some politician turns around and says Quebecers want this, and this is clearly something that this politician pulled up his back pocket 10 minutes before talking to the press, I think people should remember that. Quebecers, distinct society, you go for it. It's great. Let's have T-shirts made up. But in the meantime, understand that Quebecers are people like anybody else, that they have priorities, and those priorities do not even come close to matching what the likes of François Legault and Paul Saint-Pierre Plamondon, and to a certain extent, the Quebec Liberal Party, I didn't mention a name because you're kind of between leaders, may suggest that Quebecers, their hopes and dreams and whatever. Quebecers just want to have as good a life as possible with as little, as you like to say, chicane as possible. Simple as that. So I really hope, if nothing else, people remember this poll and the politicians dial down the operatic, delivery of their agendas this year, because quite frankly, I don't know who you're talking to unless it's like, two reporters in the back row. Nobody else is listening, and nobody really cares about the so-called priorities that you keep espousing.
James Mennie of the Montreal Gazette. Thank you, sir.